Good afternoon on what is a bright, sunny and warm day. It is Thursday, 24th of March. I'm back in the reading nook with cat news, not ours, and a nice hot cup of tea. And a box which keeps on giving. There's still a lot of things to delve into with this, so let's find out what the next thing is. So, pulling this open. I've already pulled out dice for the John Carter of Mars role-playing game and the reference cards. So there we go, cards. And the next thing down is this pack here. So let's find out what the next book is in there. Book is this, okay, which is the Dark Soul Sourcebook for Mutant Chronicles. Mutant Chronicles is the techno fantasy role-playing game, 3rd edition, published by Modiphius Entertainment, based upon the Swedish role-playing game from the early 90s, which got translated in the basically mid to late 90s, which is where most people sort of like first came across it, and then it became, you know, miniatures game and a movie and some novels. But for Modiphius, it was the first 2D20 setting that the publisher developed. So, the power of the dark symmetry, darkness, the absence of light, mankind has feared it since the beginning of time. This is because on some level we've always known it has always been there, ready to devour everything that crosses its path, creating monsters out of men, feeding on our despair. Cyclical, eternal and undeniable. This is the Dark Soul, a supplement for the Mutant Chronicles role-playing game. Okay, so we have, it features 248 pages of Dark Legion secrets. The Apostles. How do they interact? What are the Apostles truly? Discover their internal rivalry and their ancient hierarchy. Legions. Each Apostle has its own legions, even its own malignants. Learn of them all and what purpose they serve and the powers they wield. Heretics. Do they all commit evil acts just for the sake of it, or are there still twisted human emotions governing them? Learn what it is to become a heretic and what drives them. Powers. Each apostle bestows its worshippers with unique powers, and study them in depth and the price that comes by wielding them. All heretics can be struck by the dreaded stigmata and degeneration. Technology. The dark technology over which Algaroth rules is the hammer swung by the apostles, crushing all hope from mankind. Discover intricate new weapons, equipment, and the corruption they bring. Okay, so I'll try not to basically go through this book and try not to be too distracted by the cat, who is not ours. And here, this really kind of takes the Mutant Chronicles setting. It's sort of like back to its, you know, basically the trigger point, the point at which the whole history really begins, which is the discovery of the planet Nero and what it contains. So we've got we've got a map of Nero, which is the 10th body out from our solar system, planetoid or planet out beyond Pluto. And we open up with a discussion of Nero and his courts. Go delving into the background. So essentially, this Sourcebook is a journey into the heart of darkness. The Dark Legion is evil incarnate and aims to destroy all of mankind. The Apostles and their cohorts wash over humanity like a vile wave of agony and despair. We know them to be monstrous, corrupt and powerful. But what are they? Why are they? The Dark Soul will reveal all. It's actually designed as an invaluable tool, allow you to explore and use the Dark Legion in your campaigns. So basically, solid introduction, tells you what the book is and what you're going to get. So we're going to get some pretty gruesome artwork, but an explanation of really the true enemy in the Mutant Chronicles setting. So we have the beings of power, and so we've already seen the symbols of the Dark Apostles, say in the core rulebook, but here they are putting under the spotlight themselves, so each gets a full description. So we have this is Ilion, and describing her minions and so on, the power she grants, and then also basically Algaroth. Who else we got? Demogonus or Demogonus. I think it would be nice if they sort of like kind of stuck to it. So, stuck to that look and given it a bit more prominence, because it's sort of like she's very prominent, whereas it's sort of a bit less so and less so as it goes on. So, nevertheless, we have when we get on to Semi. And then Wuaji, and then there's servants. So we have Nephite Civilian, and Rithaz, the Queen of Death. So lots of monstrous things you do not want. I mean, basically, so essentially we've got so she's an actual she's a Nephite civilian. So we've got the standard kind of template, and then we've got a particular example, and then it's going to do the same for each of the apostles. So we have Saladin, Nephite of Algaroth, Absalom, Nephite, and again, basically got another couple of Nephites of Algaroth there. So these are sort of lesser things that you can, you wouldn't necessarily want to face, but they're great enemies. We've got artifacts of Algaroth, some of the things they might wield. Then we go to Nephites of Demogonus. So really nicely laid out, entertainingly monstrous artwork, depicting some of these beasts, like Lozar the Infectious. And it's dealing with each of these in turn, and not all of them are getting illustrations. So we get down to the Nephites of Muaji, and we've got stats but not descriptions, but not illustrations. And then we have assorted beings of note connected to them, like Karak the Keeper, the First Templar, and his special abilities, Jason Graham, Merrick the Inquisitor Slayer, again, NPCs and monsters that the player characters can run into and probably don't want to. Dr. Alice Thorne, basically who has given over, basically these are individuals who give themselves over to the Dark Cemetery. And then, so those are individuals. Then we actually have the Apostle Legions, essentially the great forces that they filled in battle, and that is actually, and that's really kind of what the wargaming aspect of the Mutant Chronicles setting is built around. I mean, not necessarily, essentially, the setting not necessarily the sort of like Mutant Chronicles of the role-playing game, although it does obviously there is a, sort of like a lot of combat involved in the game, because you are involved. You are fighting the Dark Legions and the Dark Cemetery, and we've got there's like a Templar there, Dark Templar, and we've got Legions of Algaroth, Bio Giants. So lots of variety and theming in here for the game master to bring to her game, like the Plague Runner for Legions of Demogonus. So yeah, so just more and more horrid monsters. So in some ways it's almost like a one big bestiary at this point. But that's fine. I mean, you know, that's sort of like the sort of thing you're going to need anyway. Basically supplements what's in the core rulebook. Then we have the citadels, which are essentially there are places, are the strongholds of the Dark Legion. Each one is an edifice that sees with taint and vileness. Basically just a general look of what they are. Just great edifices, monstrous edifices, which just dominate the landscape where they land. And the game master can use them as is, or use them for inspiration. And then we have cults and heretics. So here again, this was sort of like a bit more personal, basically a bit more on the human side. And we've already had some of the humans, like the Doctor earlier, who essentially let the dark symmetry into her life in return for the life of her son. But here's how you become a heretic. Becoming a heretic during education and their recruitment, or during a career. So we've actually got events that would essentially you could create NPCs this way. And explore how they became. They basically look at the event which turned them to the dark side, as it were. Or we have heretic careers. So you know, even the possibility of what you could do, if you wanted to, you could actually play a heretic campaign. So there is that option. It's again not necessarily one that. Everyone will want to play, and probably wouldn't, you know, necessarily you would want to do for very long. But again, so you've got Cult of Ilian careers, like the Void Weaver, and it's going to do each of these for the Apostles, the Frozen Soul, and then go on to do Algaroth. So you know, like careers like the Destroyer. The Technomancer, and these are say for whether or not you want to use them as your as NPCs or the basis for player characters. That's really up to the game master and the group, but the options are there. And then we've got like Dread Shadow and Eater of Souls from Rajad, and I really know I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but hey. I can only apologise. Now we've got essentially the different abilities and so on for the different factions, the different powers of the apostles and the gifts they grant. Whether that's so the powers of Ilian, basically sort of the Chains of the Void or Dark Ascension, and more, just lots of them. That again, a symmetry pattern of Algaroth. Again, these are just ways of empowering your NPCs or your evil player characters, and just making them, you know, single individual. None two alike, that sort of thing. So yeah, so we even have the Dark Ink as a power. It's interesting. And then the politics. Then we go to basically more of the background, the politics of darkness, because they're not all one unified force. So the politics of the Nephrites, politics of the Apostles and the Dark Soul, and the power structures and how they interact. So that's giving a plenty of background, and then we go on to the dark technology, creating devices, building prototypes, and that's the rules for that allow more individualization. But we have the weapons listed here. Again, the same kind of style as the core rulebook and the other source books. Like the Blutarch hand cannon. The Blutarch is a weapon from Easel Ghoul's native dimension. They are grafted upon the fiendish beings' arms that are capable of unleashing salvos of black bullets into the bodies of Easel Ghoul's foes. A blue-tark hand cannon is often fitted with an underslung carcass grenade launcher. So you can kind of see sort of like the wargaming roots of it here, but you know the crossover is potential. It's not without its merits, I suppose. And then we have weapon accessories like weapon graphs and with the neural links and bioscopes. You know, relying upon twisted biology rather than necessarily technology. So and it does the same thing for weapons and even vehicles like necrotanks. Go. So yeah, everything you kind of want to bring the dark powers, the symmetry, into your Mutant Chronicles game, and individualise your foes to throw at your player characters, and you know, just make them a bit different, so they're not sort of like facing the same thing again and again, and even sort of like build stories around the politics of the apostles. And sort of possibly throw them against each other. Yeah, so yeah, that's the Dark Soul Sourcebook for Mutant Chronicles from Modiphius Entertainment. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing of Nook. If you have, please click on the like button down below. And if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me with a box and a book or game which I will talk about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. But then please do hit that subscribe button. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back again soon with another unboxing of the Nook. Bye for now.